Hi, everyone, and welcome to ZEN and TECH. Our week... Let's start again because we're not weekly anymore. Hold on 1 second, please. Hi, everyone, and welcome to ZEN and TECH, our show focused on centering your inner geek and using technology to help you deal with the stresses of your connected life. I'm Rene, and the host for your show is Georgia. Before I begin, I just want to remind you that while Georgia is a therapist, she's not your therapist. Everything said or implied in this episode is for informational and entertainment purposes only, and shouldn't be taken in any way as a replacement for personal, professional care. Georgia, how are you today?
I'm doing very well. I'm a little bit sick, so I apologize if I cough. I will try not to.
I am as well, so we can do it in stereo at least.
I know. I just did a presentation, actually coughed the entire way through it. I am probably going to have to buy stock in Ricola.
Ricola!
I'm going through about a pack or two a day. My purse...
Do you have a Ricola habit?
These babies, filled with them.
Nice.
Because once I start coughing, I will not stop.
So is coughing and Ricola the subject of today's episode?
No, it is not. I thought that we would deal with a subject that probably should have been dealt with a lot earlier than this, but it's anger management.
Oh, way to call us slack, Georgia. That really pisses me off.
Not to be mistaken for the show.
Oh. You know what my secret is?
Tell me, Rene.
I'm always angry.
That's it. But do you get green and powerful?
I wish. Unlike Vader and the Hulk, my anger does not make me any more powerful. Television and movies have lied to me.
That's too bad.
Yes.
I'm sad for you, Rene.
Not as sad as I am, but I appreciate the sympathy.
I know, me too. Me too, if only.
So what is anger and why do we need to manage it?
Well, it's a really good question. We evolved to have anger. It's one of the basic emotions that we deal with. We won't be dealing with repressed anger, which in and of itself is a huge issue. So some people I see don't even express anger. Like they might feel it perhaps. And when I first started dealing with people that had different issues, I was shocked that some people did not express anger. I was actually like, that is unusual. And it's because anger is seen as bad, or they've seen a lot of...
I'm going to slow you down for 1 second. What is anger? What are we talking about here?
Anger is an emotion. It is our protection system.
Okay.
And what it's there is it perceives a threat, and it is there to protect us from said threat.
But isn't that what running and fear is for? Why do we have anger as well as running and fear?
It's in order to attack.
Ah, okay. So this is the fight instead of the flight.
Exactly.
Okay.
And anxiety and anger, they're strongly linked.
Okay.
And as my supervisor always loves to say, yeah, that one's for you, Sandra. She loves to say that anger and anxiety are related, and anxiety is often anger turned inward. So
that doesn't make sense. Can you? So why is that? That doesn't make any intuitive sense to me. Because if I'm anxious, I feel like I'm all nervous and stuff. And how is anger related to anxiety?
Well, if you are not able to express your feelings, not being true to yourself, and you're constantly swallowing your anger. So when I say swallowing your anger, instead of talking to someone, instead of working out, instead of training, instead of stating how you feel, you're going to just pretend like it didn't happen. So you're not going to validate it. And it's kind of like pushing more and more on a powder cake. You're just swallowing it, stuffing it, patting it down, hoping that no one sees it. In the end, you put enough dirt underneath the mat in the kitchen, it becomes this big bump. And at some certain stage, you'll just explode.
So you
mentioned... you end up feeling anxiety because you're in such distress. Your body is in such distress, it doesn't know how to deal with this, and it's upset.
So you mentioned that anger was more the fight part instead of the flight part. But is that something to do with, because you hear these stories about, you get adrenaline dumps, you start to shake, you get tunnel vision, you go into like a different state. Is anger part of the thing that fuels that whole system?
It's exactly the same thing.
Okay.
It is for a perceived danger, real or imagined. And so your body wants to protect you from said threat. And sometimes it's not a physical threat, it could be an emotional threat. And so because of that, you feel that heightened state, very similar to fight or flight. It can go all the way from mild irritation to a blind rage, which is very, very dangerous. And anger at certain levels, especially if it is unmitigated, is very dangerous, and it also, people don't like being around angry people. It's very difficult to deal with, and you're not really able to control it at certain stages. So you want to catch it before it gets to that.
So, I mean, I understand getting angry if your life is in risk or you're being assaulted, but like if someone takes the last meatball, why do I fly into a rage? If I get cut off in traffic, why do I fly into a rage? If someone, someone unintentionally bangs into me at a shopping center, why am I flying into a rage? These aren't, like, maybe they're perceived attacks, but they're not really damaging to me.
In the end, it will depend on whatever you've gone through in your life. So if food was something that was always taken from you, if food was exceptionally scarce, if it was used as a form of control towards you, then someone taking the meatball may be seen as a threat.
Okay.
And it might have happened when you were, a child, so it's even so far removed from that you don't even understand it. The first thing, though, if you know that you have an anger problem, or if you sometimes experience anger that you feel that you do not have much control over or understanding from it, the first thing you need to do is say, what are the costs to having such anger? Because you're not going to change it unless you don't want to have it. Some people actually like being angry.
Yeah, so that brings me to the second part of the question. Why do I need to manage my anger? Shouldn't I just let it out and, vent my wrath upon humanity?
In psychology, they used to say that, yes, you should, exhibit your anger and really go into it. In the end, though, what you're doing is you are any part of your brain that you allow to fire, and when I say by fire is when you are in a certain emotion, it triggers all your neurons to fire one neuron to the other neuron. So they fire. And just like a muscle, when you use something, our brains are exceptionally evolved and efficient machines. So the more you use something, the more strong that connection in between the two will get. So if you're using anger a lot, if you're indulging in it, it's firing that connection in between the two sections a lot, and they'll become stronger. Just like, say, a concert pianist becomes better at playing piano, the more that they play, the same thing will happen for anger. The more that you allow yourself to indulge in anger without thinking about it, without being mindful of it, without being conscious of what's really happening, it actually becomes a very strong muscle in your brain.
So you're saying the more push-ups I do, the better I get at push-ups, the more I allow myself to get angry, the better I get at being angry?
Yes, and you'll trigger faster. Also, if you, and some people will fire faster for anxiety and for anger naturally just because they might have seen a lot of anger in their childhood. It might not, like some of it is biological. And some of it is also, they might have grown up in a violent home or when they've seen a lot of conflict or a lot of yelling. So that makes you feel threatened, and that will trigger that protection part of your brain. And then you see someone, as you get older, yell at you. That will fire that, oh my God, I'm in danger, attack, and then you'll feel anger because you feel threatened from that situation.
Okay.
And the more that you do that, the more that you go there, again, it just becomes a stronger connection in your brain.
But I'm angry, I'm yelling, I'm getting my way. Again, why do I want to manage this?
Well, you have to look at what are the costs to your anger that you have, and you have to truly look at it honestly. So does it, keep you from being able to control yourself in certain situations? Do you overreact? Do you hurt people's feelings? Does it stop you from getting promotions? Do people not want to be around you? Are you overly harsh with your children or wife or husband? Do you sometimes break things that you don't wish that you would? Unbridled anger is a very dangerous thing. It's very powerful. It's important. I don't think that you should repress it. You shouldn't get rid of it. But you need to know how to use it and what is happening.
So can you actually learn to manage it? And what I mean by that is to control it so that you don't lose control, or is it something you have to redirect or channel elsewhere?
You want to do all of the above. The first thing is you have to say, okay, do I have a problem with this or not? If you fly into a blind rage and you cannot control yourself, or you're actually, sometimes if you get really angry, what happens if you're really angry, by the way, is that you're really, really angry and you go into that blind rage, your frontal lobes kind of stop firing, so you're not thinking about what are the consequences to your actions. And sometimes it'll even happen like you'll be doing something, you'll be like, I wish I should stop this, but it's almost addictive. It feels good. You want to get it out. So controlling it, interestingly enough, can feel bad because you want to get angry. You might be having a fight with someone and they're not fighting back, and you will keep on poking at them so that they do fight back.
So you get the reaction you want.
Yeah, you want to feed that addiction. It feels good to have them fight back for that. So that's the first thing.
So how do you recognize if you have a problem? The first thing you said is if you're losing control, if you're going to state, are there any other symptoms that you might be able to recognize, or people might be able to recognize in you that indicates you have a problem with anger?
Well, you can just listen to the people that are around you. They say, wow, you really do have an anger problem, or if you're not getting promotions when you could.
Or if you end up in legal situations you really shouldn't be in.
It happens more often than not. Even the manner in which you hold yourself. How does your body feel? If you're constantly tense, you're probably either repressing anger or you're overly upset by things that are happening in your world. You don't have to live that way. That's not normal. And some people will be like, that's just normal. It's not. You shouldn't feel tensed and worried and that you have to protect everything all the time.
So sort of like if everyone's on pins and needles around you, or they feel like they're walking on eggshells, they're afraid of setting you off. Instead of being passive aggressive, you're just always aggressive. Those are
right.
You might have an anger issue.
You might have an anger issue. And everyone should take a look into their anger and what their triggers are, no matter what.
What do you mean by a trigger?
Well, understanding the things that make you upset, because anger in and of itself, it's masking other emotions. So...
Well, the reason I'm asking is because some people say you made me angry. Is that true? Do they make you angry, or are you allowing yourself to be angry?
Well, those are anger distortions.
Okay.
And it's kind of a step after that. It's, once you know what happens, you'll blame other people. Well, you made me do this.
Okay.
In the end, that's just indulging in the anger. No one wants to take responsibility for their own actions. But before you even do that, what you should try to figure out is, what's really happening? How do I really feel?
Okay.
It could be that you feel like your ego is threatened. So it could be a self-esteem issue that someone, we have this hierarchy of, especially men deal with this often more than women, but it's becoming more and more prevalent with women as well, in that if someone embarrassed you or said something that was demeaning to you, you might get angry from that because you're trying to protect your own ego. Or it could be more of a defensive mechanism that, when you feel threatened or hurt, you attack so that you don't look weak and vulnerable. It could also be that you're sad and you're not used to being sad or how to show that. Sorry, I'm just trying to, I have like 100,000. There we go. So you want to make sure that you are honest with what is your anger really masking at the time. There's a reason for it. It's there to protect you from something. And sometimes it's very obvious that you're angry because someone was hurting someone else near you. But often it's not that easy to see. And you want to take a look. What's really happening in me and what triggers me?
So how do you do that?
Well, you ask yourself honest questions because if you get really angry, and I like to pick things that make you like from a 0 to a 10 in a moment.
Okay.
Those are triggers, and they've hit a core wound in you. And then after you deal with that, you can say, well, what really happened? What did I truly, truly feel? And you can do that by going through a diary, an anger journal, and you put down what happened, how angry was I, what did I feel during that, and what was that main thought? And if you're really angry about something, it'll keep on running through your mind, and you can say, what was really, really happening during this period of time for me? What was my mind going through? Did someone do something wrong on purpose? Did they try to embarrass me? Did they try to make me look bad? Were they trying to usurp my position? And then what does that say about me?
And when you say a 10, is that like a blind, furious Hulk Vader rage sort of a thing, or is that
it would
just...
definitely be a Hulk smash rage,
Okay.
a 10, or anger. The saddest part about anger is you're not in control when you're angry. So that's the one thing. If you were not in control, you were not able to stop yourself, or even if you're having an argument with someone, but you're not able to look at what's coming out of your mouth, or maybe even you're going to say something that's rude or hurtful, that's an anger that you're going to want to take a look at.
So when you say journaling, is that like we've spoken about in previous episodes where you actually keep almost like a list of things that you're experiencing while you're working through it?
I really love writing. And I know we feel completely different about this, Rene, but I liked, pen and paper, pencil and paper writing. The experience of doing that, it slows you down. It's always there. And yeah, it's just getting a pen, getting a paper, putting it in a book, not thinking about how it's going to look, not trying to make it look pretty, not worrying about syntax or writing, and just vomiting upon the page. It could be in song or images or shapes, sticking things on the page, whatever makes you feel expressed.
Is that the process of taking it out of your brain and putting it on something else to hold?
It makes it real. It's very validating, and you can take a look at it, and sometimes you look at it and go, wow, I can't believe that was how I felt. And just that in itself, especially if you had parents that were very invalidating, that makes you feel, you know what, this is something that's important. This is real. That's the only one thing that I don't like as much about technology is that, you put it on your phone, and the only thing is that you don't think of it as real as it would be, because you sometimes can lose it. It could be deleted.
It's worse than that. I try to have Siri do it now because I'm too lazy to write, and it's like purple dot, nothing, and I get angrier, and purple dot, nothing, and I get angrier. Then I'm throwing Siri, and I have to go write it because I have no phone left.
Right, exactly. That's a special type of anger, Siri anger.
And then I'm right back to writing with a pen.
I'm going to read down some trigger thoughts, some things that you might find that make you angry. So it could be that you feel that people are ignoring your needs, that people don't see you, understand you, that people are being inconsiderate or impolite, that you're being taken advantage of, that you're feeling controlled, you feel that people are selfish. This is one I hear a lot. It makes me angry when I see people that are stupid or thoughtless.
I'm not angry, they're just stupid.
Yeah, exactly. I get that a lot. I hate, they're like angry about stupid. I don't know how it even affects them. Should make you feel better. But anyways, that people shame or criticize you. That's, again, from hurt. Mm-hmm. That people keep you waiting. This would also be road rage. Very, very serious thing. For some reason, we're now having a race, and whoever gets the red light first wins something. People are uncaring or ungenerous. Manipulative, threatening, mean, cruel, disrespected, unfair, lazy.
Trying to take my stuff.
Irresponsible. They don't help you. They don't understand you. Those are some of the main trigger thoughts that you can go through for when you're angry.
So you become angry, you try to identify which one of those reasons caused your anger, and then you write that down?
You write down what the trigger thought is.
Okay.
I love to write down why. Why does this even bother me? So perhaps it was that your parent was always saying, you have to be on time. You have to be on time. And so your friend makes you late, and then you're angry at them. You would say, well, how angry? 1 to 10, 8. Why an 8 just because you're late? Well, because in my home, I would get hurt or yelled at. So it was a danger to me. And that's why I'm angry at my friend, because they're now putting me in the position that I feel, even though I'm, 67, I'm still feeling the old hurt from when I was a child. And my parents used to be very angry at me. And now I'm just replaying the same dance.
Is that why you get cliches about marriage too, when a spouse will ask something and they'll get incredibly angry depending on your reaction?
Well, sometimes it comes down from that you haven't shared the anger at the first place. And so, you've built up all these things that you're upset about, and you didn't speak about those. And then, it's that last little tiny drop on the top of the water.
I said pass the milk!
Yes, exactly. Cake box.
Yeah.
And that's just that last little bit that you can't handle anymore. So if you can express your anger in a way that is honest, understandable, and a way that's non-threatening to the other person, because if you yell at someone else, they're going to become defensive and angry back at you, and now here you are both engaging in this happy, fun anger game. Happy, fun anger game,
nice. So once you've written down the trigger thought and you start exploring the reasons, is it the historical, the past reasons for it? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, sometimes just knowing that this is what caused it will let you let go of it just in and of itself. You might notice that Being able to say, you know what, the reason that I'm actually angry about this is not because you made me late, but it was because, you know, my father used to beat me if I came home came to the table for supper 5 minutes late. Well, then you can say, you know what, I don't have to worry about that anymore. That's not going to happen. I don't need to be angry about it. And people are often shocked by just knowing where something comes from. It allows you to say, it's not mine to carry. I didn't cause this, and I don't have to feel that anymore. So it gives you that liberty of letting go of something. So people often come to me, what is talking about my hurt or pain or feelings really going to help? It makes a huge difference is understanding what happened to you to make you feel that way. And to say, you know what, that wasn't okay.
Is it
And
always
I
that
have to
simple? I mean, like, can you sometimes identify the cause and just not be able to let it go?
sometimes, unfortunately, it might not be that easy. Some things are very simple and very volatile in where they came from, and it didn't have a lasting damage on you. Sometimes it isn't that easy. It could be that you also have a biological predisposition to being more angry, and some of us do. And so for that, I would say you need to deal with relaxation techniques, making sure that you do not overdo things, because if you're very stressed, you're going to be much easier to trigger for anger. So if you're finding that you are short-tempered at home, are you doing too much at work? Are you over-stressing yourself where you're at? Are you not happy? Are you not feeling good about who you are? Because that's another one. If you're not happy with who you are as a person, you're not going to deal with the little tiny bumps of life exceptionally well either.
That's interesting because it seems to me that, there's some things that you can understand, they're simple and you can let them go. But some of the things, it might even annoy you, like you understand the reason for why you're doing it, yet you can't stop yourself from doing it. And you get angry at yourself for not being able to fix a thing that you are angry about.
Yeah, one of my colleagues was talking about mindfulness. And what I loved about it is that, sometimes it's okay to say, you know what, I'm angry and that's all right. I'll try to deal with it. I'll try to figure it out. But I'm not, like, there's no reason in being angry and then hating yourself from being angry. That's not helpful. Change the skill if you want to change it, work at it. But again, until you get there, you might as well not throw a whole pile of hate on top of that as well. It's like the cherry on top. You don't need to kick yourself while you're down. It doesn't actually help you get up.
So, I mean, that's an interesting point. So you're doing anger management, but there might be situations where you have to legitimately be angry.
Yes. And anger is, again, it's a honest, useful emotion. So you can't just say, I'm going to just get rid of it completely. You don't want to do that. That's actually much more dangerous than learning a way to express it. And the way to speak to other people about being angry. There's some ways that you can talk about it, like instead of saying, oh my God, you made me late, how could you do that? Instead, if you said, you know what, it makes me feel worried when I'm late because it's something that's very important to me, well, then someone's going to be able to say, you know what, I can listen to that. But if you attack someone else, you're going to expect that they're going to be defensive.
So what are the next steps? We have writing things down, we have identifying the root cause, but it sounds to me like this is a process. It's not a thing where the minute you write it down, Tinkerbell appears and hits you with a wand and everything is miraculously fixed. What are the steps you have to take once you start identifying things?
Well, then you have to not indulge in the anger. And this is probably the hardest part out of all of it. Once you know what's happening, you've worked on your techniques, you have to apply them in situations when you are actually angry. And I'm going to say the old hokey, count to 10, but it works. It works. You are angry and triggered for a very short period of time. If you can wait 30 seconds in between when someone does something. Like, I love the thought of any reaction that is highly emotional is probably not going to be the reaction you want it to be. So just taking a few seconds, deep breath, and then thinking, do I really need to deal with this now? So that would be for a conversation. Pause. Walk away. Go to the washroom, get a glass of water.
Get a non-anger-inducing beverage.
So, yeah, work out, train. If you're replying to an email from a boss and you're very angry at that point in time, what you might want is to just, even if you, I don't even like to type out the email, but even if you type out the email, don't send it. Wait. Wait and take a look at it later. If you're highly charged, please don't ever send an email when you're highly charged. One is that you're leaving a paper trail of your vitriol, which you don't want to have.
Evidence. It's evidence.
And two, you'll probably end up hitting like reply all instead of just reply to the last person that you're supposed to. And now you've sent it to your mother-in-law and your boss and everyone else that you had hoped not to send it to at the same time.
There are things like Gmail, I believe, has a drunk filter, which will, like, when you turn it on, it'll let you stop an email for like a minute or 2 minutes after you write it, which, if you have those kind of issues, you might want to enable something like that.
Unfortunately, when you're really angry, you might still be angry for that minute.
Oh, darn.
Be like, I don't care. It doesn't even matter. I hope they did hear it. And then later you're like, why did I do that? What you shouldn't do, you really shouldn't drink. Alcohol and anger, probably one of the worst mixes that you can have. If you choose to drink, fine, but you should not drink angry.
Don't drink and angry.
Yes, don't drink and angry. It's bad.
So as you go through this process, I'm guessing you'll have setbacks. Do we go back to your usual Batman advice of, you're going to fall down and you have to learn how to pick yourself back up?
Yeah, you're going to have a whole bunch of different issues with it, which is fine. The main one is you want to not fire that part of your brain. You are going to give yourself a timeout, do your breathing, distract yourself, tell a joke, think, could it be any... I love thinking of my life as a Seinfeld episode. Like this is exactly as a Seinfeld episode would be.
Serenity now!
For things such as road rage, try to be last. I love the one of just having impeccable manners. Try to kill people with kindness. Just have absolutely impeccable manners. It's hard to be angry and have impeccable manners at the same time.
Unless you're British, but I get your point.
Which is very cool.
Yeah.
Then you'll probably get away with it.
So what is the homework for this week?
Well, I would love for everyone to try to take a look at the things that truly trigger them and why. What really makes you angry? Maybe it's a personality type. Maybe it's people that are constantly begging for help. Maybe it's other people that are angry. Maybe it's people that are inconsiderate of you or selfish or, don't laugh at your jokes. And say to yourself, why does this bother me so much? And how can I react to it differently? All it is about changing patterns and not feeding the addiction that anger can become.
What about journaling? Should we do any journaling too?
You definitely should. I love journaling. I like to get a nice book that you enjoy, a pen that's smooth, calm. I hate, again, for me, stressful is using an ink pen that then my hand goes over and it streaks everywhere. But you want to use something that you'll enjoy writing with. In the end, though, the best pen, Rene?
Yes? Is an
pen
astronaut
that you have
pen?
With you.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to...
Yeah, right, a pencil. No, it's the pen that you have with you, so you can just enjoy whatever you happen to have. And write wherever you'd like, but I find that writing does help exceptionally well.
And if anyone has any questions or they want to share some of the stuff that they are working on, they can just email us, podcast@ZEN and TECH, or just leave a comment on the show, and we can get into it more next time.
Great.
So, Georgia, where can we find out more about you?
You can find me on Twitter at GeorgiaTIPB, and you can also find me on the website, www.zenandtech.tv.
And you're doing a lot of talks now. You just came from a talk tonight. If people would like you to talk at their company or their event or their symposium or their organization, where can they just get in touch with you with those addresses?
Yep, they can. Send me a email, a message, and I love doing them, so that would be great.
Awesome. And you can find me at Rene Ritchie. You can find both of us at Zen and Tech. You can find all of our shows at mobilenations.com/shows. I want to thank everyone who joined us in the chat room tonight. You always bring up excellent points that we try to cover during the show. It is much appreciated. And we will see you all next time. Thank you, Georgia.
Thank you, Rene. And thanks, everyone, for joining us live.
Once you give in to anger, forever will it control your destiny. Georgia Smash? All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks about that. Thanks about that. It's not even an English sentence.
I liked it. It was smooth.
I'll make that a calling card. I'll make that like my tagline.
Right. It's a T-shirt.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye.